Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Alberta News and Views. So the Trudeau Trump meeting didn't go as well as Trudeau Media Corp would have you believe up here in Canada. In fact, it went disastrously. This just in from Mar-a-Lago. Reports from those sitting at the table with Trudeau and Trump offer new details of how the conversation might have gone. It sounds like it didn't go well for the little potato. Prime Minister Trudeau hasn't been seen publicly since leaving a West Palm Beach hotel room the next morning. He didn't even stay at Mar-a-Lago. He stayed at a Delta, and it probably cost us Canadian taxpayers at least $1 bazillion. You can guarantee it. Check this out.
And tonight we're getting some new details about that Trump-Trudeau dinner from two people who were at the table. We are told that when Trudeau told President-elect Trump that new tariffs would kill the Canadian economy, Trump joked to him that if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion a year, then maybe Canada should become the 51st state and Trudeau could become its governor. Right.
More on that detail with the panel. Peter, thank you.
There's lots of polls going on right now on Twitter X asking Canadians if they would like to be part of the United States, if they would like to be the 51st state. The 51st state is actually, I don't know if it has party status yet in Alberta, but they're growing. It is a group called the 51st state. You can check them out if you want, and they're growing. There's petitions going around to get signatures to become a party, I believe, and I have no idea if they've reached party status yet or not. I'm telling all of you, all roads lead to Western independence. The Auditor General just dropped another bombshell of $6.5 billion lost because of complete incompetence and corruption in the Trudeau government. It is systemic corruption in the federal government in Canada. Infiltration like you would not believe from other countries, election interference, ultimate corruption, ultra corruption. The only way out of this mess, this disaster, this chaos is with Western independence or a 51st state scenario. The federal government needs to be dissolved. We don't need it. We don't want it. It is a huge, huge waste of money. Ask yourselves, what does the federal government actually do other than destroy and wreck everything it touches and put its minds to and steal our money? Other than that, it's useless. We don't need it. It is so bad right now that the provinces are taking care of themselves and their own borders because the Liberal NDP government is just, they're incompetent. They're useless. Continuing on. So agents of Indian government interfered in Patrick Brown's Conservative leadership campaign. Okay, this is from the CBC. Now, this is very, very shady, and I'm going to show you why right here. I was searching forever to find a really good summary of what's kind of going on, and I found it with Alex Zoltan. Give him a follow. He's got great stuff. So here's the crux of this story. According to the unnamed and anonymous sources, the CBC says Indian consular officials interfered in the Conservative Party leadership race, undermining the campaign of Patrick Brown, one supposes to help Pierre Poilievre secure the victory. So, of course, because of this, and it's coming from Trudeau Media Corp CBC, it's exploding all over the place, and the liberal NDPs are really trying to make this stick, making it seem like there's this huge conspiracy and all this crap with Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party. It's unbelievable. The Conservative Party responded and said, we have no idea what you guys are talking about. You need a little thing called facts. And it's disgusting, the journalism, especially in CBC in Canada right now. It's unbelievable. So the pieces accuses unnamed, quote, agents of the government of India of serious improprieties. Yet it's riddled with unnamed sources, vague allegations, and zero hard evidence. It's an anonymous whisper campaign wrapped in the guise of investigative journalism. Now, I've seen this firsthand from the NDP in our provincial election in Alberta, trying to drag down Danielle Smith, and they just make accusations like crazy. That's all they need is accusations because they have the media to just blast them out there. So they just accuse her of nonsense, all hypotheticals, and then they hope that it sticks. And even if it doesn't stick, It's mind control. It's gaslighting. It makes the population think that there is something going on. It's throwing mud. It is the worst type of politics. We don't need the federal government. We need to get rid of it. I'm telling you this. Conservative leadership campaign sources. This is where it all started. Poilievre's office says it knows nothing about alleged foreign interference. Okay, this is from today. Let's put aside the most glaring fact that runs upstream from this deranged narrative. Patrick Brown didn't even make it to the first round of voting in the CPC leadership race, having been ejected from the race over financing violations, something he was fined $100,000 for. Patrick Brown is shady at best. Senior party sources say Brampton, Ontario mayor received a $100,000 fine. Continuing on. CBC claims to have corroborated the accusations but offers no specifics. Who are these sources? What exactly was corroborated? Without transparency, the audience is left to take CBC's word for it. A big ask when credibility is already in question. CBC is absolute trash. It is garbage. Sources said campaign workers were told by representatives of the government of India to stop supporting Brown, not to sell membership cards for him, and not to invite him to certain events. Radio Canada granted their sources confidentiality because they say they fear for their safety. Of course. The CBC provides one source and it's completely ridiculous. On the surface, Buzz News presents itself as a platform amplifying South Asian voices, but when it comes to stories of Indian interference, there are reasons to approach its coverage with caution. Let's examine why. Indian officials contacted Rempel Garner. Michelle Rempel Garner, for all of you out there that don't know. Allegations of interference in the Conservative Party leadership race involving a Conservative member of Parliament were first reported on last year by the Baz News organization, a media outlet for the Sikh community in Canada. And what's going on right now in Canada is an absolute disaster between the Sikhs, Khalistanis, and the Indian government. For all of you out there that don't know. First, Baz News often operates within an openly activist framework championing causes aligned with Khalistani narratives. There you go. While advocacy journalism isn't inherently wrong, it can blur the line between reporting facts and pushing an agenda. CBC declined to mention this. Of course they did. Second, the platform's founders and contributors have been vocal critics of India's policies, particularly under Modi. While criticism is valid, it's worth asking if this pre-existing bias influences their reporting on alleged interference. Now, I'm not going to continue on with this because it gets dry. Now, the reason I am reading this to you is because it's what I was saying is they just blast out nonsense, hoping that it sticks, and this is what it is. The Liberal government, for all of you out there that don't know, spends hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars hiring influencers to create tiny news organizations or just little branches off of, it's like the anti-hate network. They create these websites, call themselves journalisms, and just go out there and just spread because the Liberal government buys hundreds of these people to create hundreds of these web pages that say they're independent media, and then they all blast out the same regurgitated shit all at the same time, trying to smear and drag down. It is election interference. It's crazy. It's so bad in Canada that the Liberal government, I think they're up to like 3 times now where they've had to stand up in the House of Commons and actually apologize because of defamation, because they keep on quoting these bullshit sites, these web pages that are just garbage and there's no credibility behind it. They're lies is what they are. Straight up lies. So then they get busted and then they have to apologize for it. But nothing ever happens because it's the federal government. It is systemic and it needs to be absolutely destroyed. I'm going to show you a small clip here from the Auditor General from today just to give you a taste of more Liberal NDP federal government corruption. Check this out.
6 minutes each, although members can split their time. I understand, Mr. Halan, you'll be opening up for us today. You have the floor for 6 minutes, please.
Thanks, Chair. Ms. Hogan, thank you to you and your team for putting this report together. Once again, we're here. We're here talking about another sad example of Liberal waste and abuse of taxpayer money and pure government incompetence, just like what we saw with CERB and again with Arrive scam. This time it's $3.5 billion of CEBA loans that went to ineligible recipients. Ms. Hogan, is this incompetence not due to lack of proper oversight and of a lack of safeguards with taxpayers' money?
I think the first thing I would want to point out about the Canada Emergency Business Account was the speed at which $49 billion of loans went out to businesses. Waiting less than a month is very quick. But the rollout of this program did have some questionable elements when it came to contract management by Export Development Canada. So while 91% of loans went to eligible businesses, we did identify that $3.5 billion went to ineligible businesses. Export Development Canada has already started to recover some of those, but I am concerned that they have partially disagreed or partially accepted our recommendation about following up, and this concern, this lack of following up concerns me.
Was this not because of a lack of safeguards?
Well, issuing loans to ineligible recipients is about having payment controls. So with most COVID programs, this one too had limited prepayment controls.
Right.
While there were some validation checks, loans did go out to ineligible businesses. What we did see EDC do, however, was adjust at the beginning and start doing post-payment work, which was different compared to other COVID programs.
Sorry, I just have a limited amount of time, so I have to move on. So we know that Accenture was given, once again, by the Liberals, a sole source contract. This is a multinational corporation that was awarded a sole source contract. Almost 92% of contracts went to them to once again cover up the incompetence of the ministers on the Liberal side. This company took Canadians to the cleaners, and that almost $300 million plus went to Accenture, but what did Canadians get for that? Does it not say that giving this sole source contract to Accenture means that this government had bungled the program?
So this is a different program than other COVID programs. We actually here saw a Crown Corporation delivering a program that normally we would have expected to see delivered from the public service. Because of that, I would have expected better oversight by the Department of Finance and Global Affairs, and they really did fail in their responsibilities to exercise oversight over that Crown. What the EDC decided to issue non-competitive contracts to Accenture. I'm concerned about the over-reliance that they have put on this one single vendor.
Right.
And the lack of oversight by departments is such that bad decisions are not being questioned, and I would have expected better from the use of public funds.
You said in previous reports that the government can't use COVID as an excuse for this kind of incompetence. Is this not another example of that happening again?
I would expect a basic level of due diligence and monitoring regardless of the situation. And here what we saw was a poor contract management from Export Development Canada and lack of oversight by federal departments of a Crown Corporation administering a significant COVID support program.
This is what happens when you elect a wedding party. Seriously. They don't care. This government has wasted and stolen so much money. It's just the same old crap. Contractors, consultants, shady business taking advantage of an incompetent government. That's what it is. They've stolen hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars gone. There's so much of it stolen and out there now at such a large number that when we hear that $20 million was taxpayer dollars was stolen from blah, blah, blah. So let's just say Randy Boyceno. Randy Boyceno steals $100 million. That's nothing when we're used to billions of dollars being lost or stolen. Truly, it is astounding that there isn't an election convoy of 1 million people in Ottawa right now. Our inflation in Canada, all of our social structures are collapsing because taxes are going up. All our social structures are collapsing. All of our programs. It is all because of all of this money that is just gone. The money has no worth anymore. That's even if you believe in this bullshit fiat currency fucking system that they've set up. Money is just digits, and they just keep on pumping it out. And the human population, like the middle class in Canada, are just a bunch of peasants. We're peasants. We can't afford a home. We can't afford food. Nothing. We go to these stupid jobs to pay taxes. Half of our paychecks are going to the government so they can pay interest on all of the money they just stole. Seriously. This whole federal government needs to be dissolved. All of it. They are robbing us blind. It is all right here. Every year, the Auditor General says the same thing. Incompetent government, money stolen, money gone. They've created a department of oversight now. They're trying to do their best. They're standing up for Canadians. Oh, well, what would you rather have during COVID? That all these businesses just shut down? They shut down anyway. They shut down all the small business and left Canadian Tire and Costco open. Seriously, it was a scamdemic, a plandemic. It was all bullshit. There was so much financial gain. You would have to be completely ignorant to ignore and follow the money and see where that trail goes. It's unbelievable. They don't care about the middle class. They don't care. This tax holiday, it is nothing but a food cart trucking down town square, throwing out loaves of bread. That's what it is. Because the peasants are so broke, at least here's a little bit of bread. Here's a little bit. Instead of bonding together, going down to Ottawa and demanding that we want it all. We want 100% of our paychecks now. It's unbelievable that every single day we have to deal with this and see this. And then we get CBC, we get Trudeau Media Corp praising Justin Trudeau for hopping on a plane and flying to Mar-a-Lago. Are you serious? Give me a break. He got spanked when he was down there and he got told what to do. I'm sure Donald Trump told him he needs to either call an election or resign. And either way, those tariffs are going to get hammered on Canada. And why not? If you're Donald Trump, he knows that Canadians hate Canada. Our economy sucks. So why wouldn't he tank it and then say, hey, Alberta, want to be the 51st state? Yeah, we do. And everybody in Alberta would be dumb not to take that offer, especially just based off of the bullshit fiat currency fucking fiasco. At least we're getting a better deal when we go to work every single day than what we're getting in Canada right now. Oh, your free healthcare. What free healthcare? We spend hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars to keep people on life support and prescribe them prescription shit, experimental drugs. That's what it is. And then when all of that doesn't work, then the government will give you free hard drugs followed with assisted suicide made. Yay, Canadian healthcare is great. I will keep you updated with as much as I can when I can. All of you out there, like, share, and take care.